Hey guys, it's Brigitte with San Diego Seed Company. We own and operate a 1-acre certified organic urban farm in San Diego, California. Kellogg Garden Organics asked me to share a little bit of information about companion planting. What is it and why does it matter? Companion planting allows for you to have a diversified garden. I've got these beautiful flowers planted here next to my beans, and I'm not just doing it because it's pretty, I'm doing it because it's bringing in beneficial insects that help combat the insects that are not so great in my garden. So here I've got a beautiful row of flowers, and this is gonna help bring in parasitic wasps, ladybugs, bees, pollinators that are gonna help my garden thrive. This diversification is part of what makes a really good organic, sustainable garden. Another reason why you want a companion plant is because some plants are mutually beneficial with other plants. For an example, every year when I plant my cabbages, I also plant alongside it dill. Why? Because the big cabbage leaves actually help shade the ground and keep it moist so that I can get my beautiful dill plants up and going. Then when these are ready, which look, this looks gorgeous, it's almost ready to pick, I will harvest this row of cabbages, and behind it I can plant my cucumbers. Nothing goes better together than cucumbers and dill. So one of the reasons for companion planting is to bring beneficial insects. Another reason is because one plant can be mutually beneficial to another plant. I've got another really good example of how one plant is beneficial to another one in the garden. Let's see. So here is another example of how two plants are mutually beneficial to one another. So my sweet peas that I have growing on the south side of my cabbages, they grew up a trellis and they actually act as a natural shade barrier to keep my cabbages shaded because we're going into late spring right now and it's getting pretty warm. So this is another example of how planting one plant next to another plant helps them both grow and thrive. Okay, so it's important to remember that when you're thinking about companion planting, it's not necessarily a hard and fast rule of you have to plant this with you have to plant this. What's more important is to remember things like diversification. You can see in my garden I'm letting a lot of things go to flower. Why? Because I love bees and butterflies and I want to bring a lot of beneficial insects to my garden. Another reason to think about companion planting is when one plant is mutually beneficial with another plant. So a really good example of that is something like three sisters. We all know it, right? You grow corn, squash, and beans. Well, let's think about why you do that. The corn grows first and it grows up and it acts like a natural trellis. Then the beans, which are pole beans, can actually wrap up the corn and grow up it and give you more space. And then lastly, the squash is really important because the big leaves help shade the ground and actually keep the ground a little bit cooler. And that's one of the reasons why most people know three sisters planting. It's a really good example of when you plant strategically, how you can make the most out of your space. So remember, have fun in the garden. There's all kinds of different gardeners. For me, I love to geek out and learn intricate details about why something works and why something doesn't. But when it comes to companion planting, there's really two things that you have to remember. Shy away from monocropping. Plant a diverse, beautiful garden that you can enjoy, and plant things that are mutually beneficial for one another. That's what companion planting is.